Hello, everyone. This is Josh Vision, and I'm here to give my season 2, episode 3 review of Peaky Blinders. So, in this episode, we have Tommy and Alfie Solomon, the leader of the Jewish gang. They're really starting to, I believe, they're putting everything into the works in regards to their alliance. So, Tommy and John was able to convince their friend Billy Kitchens, who actually served with them over in the war over in France, and his 100 men, I believe, to basically start going to work for Alfie Solomon, as well as Tommy, obviously, in the bread shop. So we have this point in the episode in which Tommy is giving instructions, whatever, and one of the guys say a sly comment about how he doesn't see any bread here, because the point is they're basically trying to just go under the guise of them just working solely on bread, when it's known that they're actually serving rum illegally as well, because I think this is happening during the time of Prohibition. So Alfie Solomon, he doesn't take too kindly to this, and he kind of fakes the guy that said this out, and then ends up knocking the other guy next to him. He knocked him the hell out. Like, that dude was out. So I like the dude's character. He's just like intimidating but quiet, like, and unpredictable. I believe I mentioned that in my other video. I just like his character. He's just very menacing. So he said to the guy, now he'll wake up. He probably won't have any teeth left, but he'll remember that this all happened because of your mouth. Now this when he starts to speak to everybody. He said, listen, one, we don't talk about the distinction between the bread and the rum, okay? You listen to orders, to Tommy, which is basically me, and everything's all good, basically. That's what he was basically saying. So after that, we see Tommy really seeing just how much of a force this guy is, and he, took out a cigarette and just lit it. I'm just like, you could tell he was kind of unnerved by that event. So besides that, we have Michael and Aunt Polly, his mother, getting to know each other. I believe during the conversation, Michael says that he loves horses as well. So Aunt Polly says, well, that must be a family trait, because all the Shelbys love horses. So he meets his uncles, and yeah, besides that, we have this scene in which Sabina basically has, I forgot what the guy's name that Sabina actually gave the orders to basically finish off Tommy if he ever came back to Camden, in London. But basically, he gives the guy even more of an ultimatum about it. At one point, he actually had his hand around his throat, which I thought was very kind of a surreal moment, because if he's just gonna break his neck or let him go, you don't really know what he's going to do. So besides that, we had Tommy, Arthur, and John hire this kid, like a neighborhood kid. I believe he's like the dingbat kid or some crap like that. Either way, he doesn't have a record, whatever, and they want to sort of use him to go to jail, but they were going to reward him for it by making him a part of of their group, their operations. Mainly due to the fact that the police needed a certain amount, they needed to arrest the kid in order to reach their arrest quota, basically. So that was the main reason why. I forgot the other reason why. There's so many things that happened in this episode. So Sabini's men killed him in jail, basically to send a message to them for what the Peaky Blinders did early in the episode, when Arthur and his men just basically took over and beat up all Sabino's men in that bar club area which they was at, I believe episode 1 of season 2. Now Arthur's in charge of that place. So besides that, we had a scene between Ada and Tommy, in which Tommy, I believe he mentioned something around him having 860 pounds worth of money that he wanted to give to Ada. And I think most of it was basically, I think it was for her to be like some type of tenant or something. But she was saying, so you want me to be a tenant and basically, rent out stuff for people, whatever. And then if they don't have the money, get your boys to beat the crap out of them and send them on their way packing. So she's basically also during this episode, she's basically kind of denouncing what him and his brothers do, saying that people like you is a reason why, things are effed up, you know, in the town, the city, state, blah, 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 country, la-di-da. So this was kind of echoed when Tommy spoke with Michael. Because Michael made it clear to Tommy that he wanted to stay and that he was not going anywhere. And I believe Tommy was like, listen, you're 17, so that means you're not a man yet. So that means you can't make really your own choices. So call your mother, basically the one that's been taking care of him, not actually Aunt Polly, and tell you on your way back. And Michael's like, no, I made up my mind. I'm only a few weeks from 18, and you're not going to tell me what to do. So Tommy's impressed by this. He's like, you know what? You're definitely our kin, because that's how everyone in our family's like. Tommy, Ada, Arthur, John. We don't know about Finn, but Aunt Polly's that way, so whatever. So besides that, what else happened this episode? We had Chief Inspector Campbell, and it turns out that the people that, like his officers, whatever, his police friends, so on and so forth, they basically kind of mess with him because we know that he's kind of religious and he's kind of like really proper. And the apartment which he moved in was actually like owned by basically like a semi-retired prostitute, which Thomas reveals to him when he's when Campbell's on his way to get some fresh air, from a cafe or something. So I found that to be kind of funny because the look on Campbell's face when he found out was priceless. So besides that, what else happened in this episode that was important? Oh, we meet basically Mae Charlton, I believe, and she's like a horse trainer. So let's give a little bit of the background of how we met her actually. So basically, in terms of, we know how Thomas eventually wants to take over the gambling. So when it comes to horses in London, something along them lines. So he needs a really good horse. So he asked Polly. Well, I don't really think he asked. I think he kind of took the money, $1,000, not $1,000, 1,000 guineas worth of money. And the reason why he did it and why he was able to do it, because usually since Aunt Polly's basically the secretary treasurer, I believe, is due to the fact that she's been spending so much time with Michael trying to make it up to him for all those years of being absent, even though it wasn't her fault at all. So that's how they was able to get it. Thomas, Arthur, and John. So I believe Michael overhears the conversation and he wants to join in and help them be able to get the horse, but Aunt Polly doesn't want Michael involved in the family business. It's kind of like Tommy's speech to him when she's like, listen, we do bad things, okay? We aren't good people. You wouldn't really want to be a part of this, but Michael's down for the cause, Michael doesn't care. I think now that it comes to me, I remember him saying to Tommy near the end of their conversation early in the episode that if he goes back, he'll probably just set the thing on fire or just explode the entire village that he's at and actually take joy in it. And that's how Tommy, despite the fact that, despite Michael being kind of like single-minded and determined and stubborn, those traits being in Shelby, but also that, because that's something that Tommy said Aunt Polly would say, So eventually, John Shelby tells his aunt, listen, when I was Michael's age, I killed over 100 men and seen 1,000 men die. So either you let him into the family business or you're just going to scare him off and he doesn't want anything to do with you anymore. So that allows her to basically allow Michael to eventually join in, at least for this whole, the horse thing. So Thomas I think Thomas goes with his uncle, his brothers, and Curly. But Curly says that he feels something is off. He's very obsessive, compulsive about it. Like, I feel like something's wrong. It's like, I feel bad energy here. So while they're looking for the horses, this is when Mae Charlton starts observing Tommy. And you can tell she's really infatuated and curious about him. So they have a conversation after Tommy buys the horse. So as soon as he buys the horse, that's when all hell breaks loose. The assassin that Sabina had almost kills Tommy, at least almost shoots him. But Arthur's there right in time, and Arthur beats the hell out of this dude. He beats the shiznicks out of this dude. It took like Tommy, his uncle, and I believe Curly to just get him off the guy. It took him like 2 minutes to get him off him. The dude was barely breathing. Like, he would have been dead if they didn't get him off. So while this is happening, Michael has observed everything. The shooting, the beatdown, all that. But he's the designated driver. So they drive off. So this is yet another example of how Arthur, without the drugs, he's a maniac. He's out of control. So also, I think near the end of the episode, he's actually confronted by the mother of the boy whom he killed in one of his fits of rage, basically. And she's about to shoot him, but, he's able to talk her down. And then he tries to make it up to her by saying, listen, you have any sons? She's like, yeah. You know what? We'll give them jobs. You don't have to work at all. Never again. So she flips the table and is like, what's that going to do for me? My son's gone forever. Someone needs to stop you boys. And you can see the internal pain and shame on Arthur's body language and his face. And it's kind of effed up in a way and kind of funny how John walks in like nothing's wrong. Like, oh, I heard like a broken window is like 7 years of bad luck. We got to fix that right up, Like nonchalant, like he's so used to just carnage, just stuff like of this, stuff of this nature. So besides that, I think that's really about it, So if I missed anything, please write it down below in the comments section. So yeah, till we meet again, adios, and I'll give this episode a 9 out of 10.